Cancelled.
Schweezy.
Another thing that I watched 2 weeks ago because life happens and this has just been on the back burner for 2 weeks. I watched Pam and Tommy about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. I saw Tommy Lee. He was on an episode of Your Mom's House, and he did another podcast on Honeydew. And when he was on the show, like he seemed like a really sweet guy, like a just really nice guy. He's been around and like he knew like he fucked a ton of women and did a lot of drugs and all that shit. But overall, like he seemed like a really sweet guy. But I guess cancel culture has never gone after Tommy Lee, or he's really made it up to the world. I don't know. But like in this show, he's definitely portrayed as a giant ass asshole. And Sebastian Stan, James Buchanan Barnes, Bucky, in the Marvel movies. He is fantastic on this. And I know most of you who've already seen the show or watching the highlight or whatever it is, and you're thinking, I wonder what he has to say about the talking dick scene. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to talk about that because it was weird. And this is a classy show for classy individuals. So what do I have to say? So the concept of the show, like the story behind it is Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson, like eventually, they got married and shit, and they kind of filmed a sex tape on their own. It was just kind of for them and never really for anyone else. That was just the whole point of the thing. It was just kind of for them. Tommy Lee then refused to pay a carpenter and a construction worker who was working on like a bedroom for them in their house. The carpenter ran Gauthier. He decided to put karma into his own hands and decided to steal, like he went through all this stuff and steal like a safe from his house. And it took them a couple months before they even noticed it was gone. But 2 months, but like also how often are you going into a safe? And so, most of the things that were in the safe was like jewelry, money, guns, and shit like that. But then there was this sex tape. And so, yada, 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 things happen. And now the sex tape is on the internet. And it was the 90s. And the internet was a different thing. Before you could even stream it, you just bought the tape. Then someone buy the tape and they're selling bootlegs of it. All that stuff. It's a crazy situation. So, there is the ethical dilemma in all this. So, it's like leaking a private sex video like this, this sex tape without consent, is bad regardless of if they did or did not deserve it. I do not think it's ethical for Rand to have been posting it like that. But one thing that really did piss me off about this, though, I do think it was wrong what Rand did, releasing that sex tape. Is Tommy ended up not paying Rand for the work he already did before he decided to fire them. I think that's a really shitty thing you do. I don't know how mentally far away he was. He was a big rock star at this point. But, he had to have been at one point, he was probably a struggling musician, having to get venue owners to pay them. People owe you money. Marcus King, he does a great thing, and I will do this too. If someone owes you money and like that in a situation like that, and they refuse to pay you, you start taking their things. So if you at a bar and they're like we're not paying you this. We're underpaying you. It didn't sell or whatever. Even though the deal was Even though the deal was that we're gonna pay you this much regardless of the turnout or whatever. And they're like, okay. You go behind the bar, you take a bottle of whiskey, you're like, I'm getting this money, you owe me this money. And they're like, we're gonna call the cops on you. And if you call the cops, I'm like, look, this guy owes us this money and he's not paying for it. We just performed here to the end of the day. The cops will just be like, figure it out yourselves, idiots. That's what they're doing. That's what the cops are gonna do. So that's what you do. If someone owes you money and they refuse to pay you, what you do is, you take their stuff. That's how it works. Rand was played by Seth Rogen, one of my many doppelgangers. Apparently, I think it looked more like Jonah Hill. I think his story was more interesting. They do go over Tommy Lee's and stuff like that, So I 100% agree. Stealing that safe he's justifiable in stealing the safe from Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. And I think 100% ethical that he did that. I mean, like the guns and stuff like that. I mean, the problem is, releasing the sex tape. That was the problem, because Tommy basically got free labor out of him and even like stole his toolbox too, because Tommy thought he was getting screwed over by this guy, because Tommy was being a kind of an asshole when he wasn't. And then Tommy tried to justify to Rams, like, why would you, I can see you screwed over me, but why would you screw over Pam, sweet Pam Anderson? And I'm like, look, buddy, you not paying him is the reason the sex tape got released. Like, it's your fault. Don't blame Rand. You not paying Rand, Tommy Lee, for that, it's your own fault that sex tape got released. That's 100% your fault. I don't think it's right that he did that, but it's 100% his fault. Don't trying to justify that he was mean to Pam. You were mean to Pam by not paying this guy, and you should have known better. And I think he's justifiable in at least stealing it, not necessarily in releasing the sex tape. I don't, because typically with porn, it's consensual. You sign releases and everything before you even film a lot of the times. And like I said, another big focus on this was Pamela Anderson. And a lot of people think that the sex tape did ruin her career, even though she did a bunch of shitty movies, and Baywatch was her biggest show. But it's a good thought process, at least in regards to this, because Pamela Anderson, she posed for Playboy. She was a big Playboy model and stuff like that, and was on Baywatch, so she was kind of like a sexual icon. But the idea behind it, though, is that people were like, oh, why would you make a sex tape if you didn't want to monetize it or whatever? And, it's great because, her posing nude, for photos, I think is, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But, then, the sex tape was just for her and Tommy. So, it's a good lesson there. And, yeah, so, I mean, that's just a good talk. Good talk on everything. So, the lesson we have here of this show, pay people you owe money to, or you're going to have to let them steal your shit. And also don't post sex tapes or news of anyone. I think it's called revenge porn. Don't do that. That's bad, okay? Okay? That's bad, okay?
Pretty bold of you little fucks to assume that I'm not God.
Hey, you just finished one of the many, many highlights from Cancel Schweezy. We got plenty more on the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you like what you just watched, go ahead and smash that like button as well. Go subscribe for more so we can teach you how to be a better human in our world. So, yeah, stay awesome.